All right, 15, cool. Two's on. Same old, same old. Yeah, pretty much the regulars. Let's see. Can you guys hear that barking in the background? My neighbor's got like new dogs and they're fucking irritating. You can? Damn. It shows that it's not like registering on here. But then if I lower this more, then people are gonna be complaining like, oh, it's too soft, blah blah blah. So we'll try it out today. So that way it doesn't pick up that much noise. Let's see. Yeah, slight. Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. That's fine. All right, so I'll start with GU today, and then we'll finish off with EU, DXY. Whatever we're going over today, I'm probably gonna make a video on it tomorrow or Friday, if it goes where I want it to go, and that'll be like a pair breakdown that I upload after our website is updated, which is currently in the process of doing that now. But let's just go ahead. So obviously this is still bullish, right? My personal target is up here at 1.32, because I know that if we can tap here, then we'll definitely obviously take out previous highs, probably take out this high, of course. And depending on the intensity of how fast and how strong we take out this previous high, we'll know if we take out this previous high. But eventually we're gonna get there. There's no reason as to why we can assume that's not gonna happen, right? Especially because this is playing out exactly how we've been saying for like the past what has it been, like 4 weeks? Yeah, we've been saying this for over a month now, over 2 months pretty much. So it all started from previous equal highs here, and then obviously the structure continuation. So we have no reason to stop, especially when we're so close to a very good target that's 70 pips away. But as for actually getting into or finding an opportunity, that was the tough part. So I let Monday play out. I wasn't convinced about this. I wasn't convinced, even though it technically followed rules in terms of came back into premium. But right, I didn't take this at all. I didn't even like pay attention to it. But I did go back to see what happened, and it was actually a whole lot more clear than Euro USD was, to an extent, in terms of finding a valid POI. So off the bat, just looking at this move here, the first thing I notice, right, is the fact that this wick took out that previous wick, which filled a previous inefficiency right here. Right, so filled that previous inefficiency and then gave us the rally. And this is very, very, not the deepest retracement, but it's in a premium that, makes a lot of sense, right? It looks like a 78% ish. So off the bat, this is my potential point of interest. Right off the bat, that becomes the wick of interest. And if you don't even want to go to a smaller time frame to find a precise POI, that alone is enough, to give you that pretty much very solid POI, right? Which is a 11, 12, 13 pip range. Not bad at all. But for the people that want to know, in detail, like I'm going to show you here. So you go to 15-minute. Right, so obviously we're looking for a POI inside of this. Right, we're now into our smaller time frame. And as you can see, we have a bear flag. Oh, that's not pretty. There, much better. So off the bat, right, since we're looking for buys, I'm looking at sell candles to see if there's a potential candle of interest that we can play off of. So off the bat, I could see potentially that, 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 right? So we keep zooming in beyond that. And now this is where it's starting to make more sense in the aspect of, for one, this is our potential POI. We want something that's inside of this POI, and the 50% is obviously always been a very good reference point, right? And you guys know why from all the course material. And off the bat, just looking at this, potential POI 1, potential POI 2, right? I don't consider this anything more, because if we reach down here, even if we give a bounce, that's now equal lows, right? Not saying that because we made those equal lows, we're gonna keep going lower, but I'm not gonna buy equal lows because I could be in the completely wrong mindset that this is bullish and this could continue to be bear and take out those previous equal lows, even though they're very scattered out. So that's now crossed off the potential POI list. So I go to M1. So off the bat, right, the difference between here and the difference between here is one single aspect, and that is this, right? That indecision candle there. Because there's an indecision candle there, that shows to me that there is no volume behind the move, and this is literally a full transition without an impulsive move. Whereas here, we actually have a push down and then a push up, which means that there's probably a reason behind that. Damn. There you go. So now let's pay attention to what candles are doing. So remember from M2, this is our candle of interest. As well as this. So let's look at the candles in depth and figure out what's going on with price and what makes more sense. So based off of this POI, right, this comes down, but it doesn't seem like it mitigated anything. The only thing that would make sense to me is that it mitigated that. A potential, maybe it's like an M2, M3, SC, but notice it reacted twice. And if you go to a smaller time frame, yes, you can say that's a 50% there, but this is now a very extreme, low. Therefore, I would see this now as a potential equal low. So not only that, but it's always, it's at the open of our potential POI, whereas we're always looking for deeper. And now when we look back at this POI, even though we started coming down, there is a potential reason here, right? Whereas this entire candle could have been mitigated from, I'm sorry, this move here mitigated this previous candle, right? So the potential here is that whatever happened in this M2 candle, it shows something and it has meaning behind it. And because of that, I'm going to mark out my open and I'm going to mark out my close, right? So as we approach and as you can see, it's also right in between the 50%. But now as we approach our POI, we want to see what happens. right? So this is what happened Monday. Monday gave a reaction, but failed to take out a previous structure point. These are now considered relative equal highs because this high failed to break this high, so now there is liquidity there. And as we come back, right, notice we're now in session. Right, this is right around 7 a.m., which is New York Open. And let's just look at exactly what's happening inside of this range. Right, so if you have this POI off the bat, just off of here, you can literally call that a potential break of structure, which then came back to mitigate a potential M1 candle, right? But you probably can see that as guessing, but let me tell you why that isn't guessing here. We go to our 5-second time frame here, and I'm going to zoom into the exact range as soon as we got here. I don't know why the volume is like that now. That's so annoying. So as we're looking here, right, we have our pre-supply, selling climax, automatic rally, right? In this even though this automatic rally isn't really fully valid to me, there's still a somewhat type of rally from the selling climax, right? Secondary test, which is from the selling climax, which came back to potentially mitigate that. And then from there, we came down our secondary test. Spring, potential test. We now have optimism shown. LPS, full optimism shown through the matter of an SOS. And as we know, an SOS usually has a corrective nature to it. And from there, we started to rally. So that's now a reason to want to buy, which is your accumulation completion. And let me delete all this for you guys. So by no means does that mean, enter here at the spring, right? All you need to know is acknowledge that that's happening, because that now means that you're not only reacting from a POI from H1 that's then brought down to M1, and you're now here potentially seeing that happen, right? That creates the bias. So how are we going to enter this trade? Wrong one. Obviously, if that's the high of the range, we have our low, our high. We want to come back into premium, which on M1, right, there could be a potential SC here. Right, this is the last candle down that gave an impulsive move that also left inefficient pricing here. So price rebalances itself, comes back into the POI, right? And keep in mind, this is 3 to 5 pips anywhere, or if you want to be conservative, that could be 7, up to you. And from there, we have our initial rally, right? We now are testing previous high. So if you're in from this position, you now break even here, or even if you're here, if you're here and you pretty much are testing structure, that does not mean break even here, because there's always the possibility price can come back down here before going up. So unless you get the perfect entry, that's when you break even there. Whereas if you get the bad entry, I would recommend you to put your stop loss at the perfect break even, because you're now, let's say price comes back, right? If it tops your entry, your entire setup is probably wrong. Whereas here, if you break even and it tops it, that doesn't necessarily mean your setup is wrong. Your entry was just bad. Does that make sense? because I see that happen a lot. Just because structure breaks, so if you have a structure break here and you're entering from here, that does not mean break even here, because you got to understand that in terms of range, you're in heavy premium, right? So there's always the possibility we can come back in a discount, and that's a simple slip up, but it's a small detail and it actually counts, right? So if you have that perfect entry there, then you break even there, right? Because on the 30-second here, oh, what the hell did I do? Okay, yeah, I don't know what I did there. Right, so now, because if your position is break even here, there's always the possibility that this could be another potential SC, because this is where the volume came down to mitigate something that then gave a reaction, right? And that's more than likely what happened here. Yo, shut up, man. Which, as you can see, came back to top it. And that's what then gave the reaction, right? And then from there, that's probably where you start rallying. Right, and then that, you got a really good H2 closure, I'm sorry. Right, bullish engulfing after a 5-second accumulation from a M1 POI that was derived from H1, and you now have your follow through. And keep in mind, you're still overall bearish because the daily says that, right? So from there, it's just about writing it. Intraday TP is there, which is about 120, 115 pips, which from an initial 5 to 7 pip risk, that's over a 10 to 1, a 1 to 10, I'm sorry. And that, in essence, that's all you need. Because now we're probably going to either hit something in London and then continue, or hit London up here and then maybe start a pullback during New York. So it's just playing based off of each. Obviously, I would prefer to see this start pulling back, give me some type of corrective nature, and then take higher. That just makes more sense, and it fits, you know, the narrative bias that we want, right? So that's pretty much that. I'm probably gonna make a video on that just because I'm pretty sure that was a lot. I don't know if you guys fully caught on to everything, but that was a lot. Whereas Euro USD and DXY was even more, actually, because this is actually a setup that I took. So let's see. So obviously, let's see. We are bearish DXY. And as we're coming into session, I noticed something here, right? We have an impulsive move, then we have an indecision, and then we have a random spike that you can either say took out previous liquidity there, or potentially mitigated something up here. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because both of those responses are giving you the same, you know, outcome, which is potential bearishness, because that happened. And then we had a break of structure here, right? So now, as you can see, there's a candle that pushed up. So you can easily mark that out as a potential POI, whereas in EU, that is literally the same thing that happened, right? Whereas here, took out that level of liquidity and then gave a bullish break of structure, right? And honestly, I was going to take something here, but I wanted a little bit lower. I wanted that candle there. Right, I actually wanted that zone there, and unfortunately it never tapped, so I would have never, you know, been able to find the reaction off of that. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, that would have been me picking a low, and obviously you guys, you know, we don't want to do that. But what we got to acknowledge here is that even though we didn't catch a setup here, we now got a pretty much a full-on narrative to go based off of here because of this BOS here. So Same thing happened. You mark out your open, right? And you can essentially mark out the whole zone. And that's not necessary. We don't need the open. But let me go to replay on here. So as I'm looking at these charts, right, at the exact same time, right around New York, yeah, an hour after New York Open. Let's see. Right, so I'm not trying to guess the high here on DXY, and I'm not trying to guess the low on EU without an actual, something actually giving me a reason to want to buy. So even though we're tapping our POI, there's always the possibility that I can go to 50%. So I'm gonna wait because I need to have an actual reason to want to buy, this to, well, I want a reason to buy. That's what I'm trying to say. And when we're looking at this, I don't know why this is being so laggy. Okay, that's fine. So as we're looking at this, right, POI tapped, right? So I wanted to wait. People would have easily wanted to take risk here, right? And the reason why I'm waiting is because there's always a possibility too that we can have an accumulation happen. And if that's the case, then this is only phase A. This is only your setting climax. So I want to wait. And pretty much what's happening here is this would have been a potential, somebody trying to guess a low from here, testing the highs. That would have been break even. That would have, hit break even. And the thing about this, though, is that even though we gave a BOS here and we came back to mitigate either this candle or even this candle, we now have equal lows, right? So I'm not saying that this is going to be bearish, but there is now liquidity sitting under here. So there's probably a setup coming that is going to, take out that liquidity before we actually go higher. Whereas that's exactly what happened. So even though we had a bullish rally here that was pretty impulsive, we had an even bigger impulse to the downside that came back to, like I said, mitigate that or that. And from here, that's when we started seeing corrective nature. You can easily go based off of that with the target of those equal lows. And that's exactly what happened, right? But after this happened, I noticed that we're trying to take out these lows. We take them out, but we're now struggling to go even further. Whereas here, right, we're actually showing an unwillingness to want to go higher because this right here happened after. I mean, this happened before, this happened after. So I'm now looking at a smaller time frame. Any day. Thank you. I'm now looking at a smaller time frame to see if something gives me an indication that DXY wants to go lower and EU wants to go higher. So here we did actually come back and tap a 15-second SC. But look at how deep this retracement is. Yes, this is an impulse correction. But look at this rally, right? We rallied once, pulled back, potentially tapping structure. We rallied again. We've now shown an unwillingness to go higher, right? This is here, right? This is when we're leaving these equal lows here next after taking out these equal lows, right? So now I'm looking at EU and I'm really paying attention to volume and potential smaller time frame structure, right? So when we're making these equal lows and we're pretty much struggling to come back lower, notice this isn't wanting to go higher anymore, right? And if this isn't wanting to go higher, this is probably gonna go higher, right? This isn't gonna want to go lower because EU moves based off DXY, correct? So we're now leaving higher lows, whereas here we're leaving lower lows with a diminishment of volume, right? And then we have a peak of volume here, which is essentially a liquidity grab. Dude, why are they being so loud today, man? My bad, guys. So we now have a liquidity grab to all of this, but there is no liquidity grab here that takes out these previous highs. So how can structure shift to the downside here without this moving up, right? And after that, after the liquidity grab, we broke structure there, right? I'm going to take all this off for you guys. We have now broken structure here, a very minuscule level of structure, but as for this side, we're full on taking out one level of structure, two levels of structure, right? So now this is showing me the unwillingness to go higher, and this is wanting me is giving me reasons to want to buy. So all it is here is seeing this, then a full BOS here. Now it's pretty much full on buys from there, right? So I actually took my positions right after all of this happened, like relatively around here, plus spread, with my stop right below that low. So that was like around 5.5 pips. And then from there, that rocketed, right? So the only thing I'm worried about here is the fact that we started the reverse during overlap, but we're leaving behind, you know, a set of liquidity. So I'm not really too worried. Like, honestly, anywhere here, go higher, honestly. There, worst case here. I'm not worried about that. We've already broken this level of structure, and we've left a higher low here. So structure is obviously wanting us to go to the upside. Our daily bias is to the upside. So like I said, if it all clicks, it all connects, then it's, you know, more than likely gonna happen. So that was a pretty long rant, guys. My bad. Hopefully that made sense. I'm gonna try to make a video on that because I think that was actually very informative, and there was actually very good execution of concepts there. So hopefully, I can get that done this weekend. If this also continues higher, because I'm honestly aiming for. Let me take this off. I'm aiming for this high, which is right around 1.2. That's personally my next target on that. And then from there, who knows? I'm gonna be chilling. Like I'm gonna be chilling. I've been holding a position from here. I've been holding a position from here. So it's, you know, it's all good. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Hopefully I wasn't stuttering too much. Sounds super low. Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't want to put the volume down. I'm gonna have to edit this video now. Oh, that's so irritating. Oh well. Yeah, I'll fix it after the recording's done, bro. Yeah, I don't know, bro. It's some people's speakers, honestly. Like, honestly, it's on the speakers and also on the volume that you have it on. I'm gonna look over it, and if it's loud on my screen, then honestly, I don't want to, you know, mess with it because editing it is gonna take a long time. So I'm gonna watch over it after this, after we're done, and then if it's loud enough, then we'll be good. Because my mouth is literally right next to the mic, like I'm leaning into my mic. And if I put this all the way up, you're gonna be hearing, every dog on my neighborhood, just because I'm right next to my window. So yeah, it's hopefully it's not too bad. Um, but yeah, I mean, I as for this week, I thought it was weird. I think I've only had like two people DM me, so I was like, yo, there's something off, right? I didn't get that many journals. Not that many people were texting me. Not that many people were messaging me with questions. So either this group is extremely shit, or people are sitting down and actually studying and learning, or people are actually starting to get it and they don't really need me as much. So hopefully it's that second and third one. But you guys know you can always message me. You guys can always talk to me, except for my new guys. My new guys, please take your first 4 weeks and actually grind. Like trust me, like if you want, even talk to some of the more experienced guys in here. Trust me, those first 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, please sit down and study. Um, like you'll understand down the road. But other than that, if you guys need more videos from me, I'm not gonna upload them now, obviously, but I'm gonna start making them. And once the website's done being updated, I'll be uploading all of them. Whew. So other than that, I mean, unless you guys have any questions or want to go over something. Yeah, that's the rant for today. I'm pretty winded, not gonna lie. All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
What's up?
Can you go to 2 hour real quick on the EU?
Mm-hmm.
So what I messed up on the past, I guess, day or two was I thought that a higher low was broken, so my bias switched to sells, and I had been trying to sell off an inefficiency, but then I got taken.
Yeah. So look, bro. Let me show you something. So I was actually trying to like, I was thinking about the same thing, but when we solidified this low and we essentially gave a BOS here, right? The only way I was gonna sell is if we had a reaction from here, right? But by the time we reached up here, we had already made a higher low. So until I get this reaction here and we actually you know break structure to the downside and we actually have a lower high, then I'm bullish. There's no reason to believe you're bearish on this. There's been no reason for the past 3 months as to why you should be selling this pair. So why should you start now?
Makes sense.
Yep. So even like look like let's actually let me actually put that. I guess 3 months, but let's actually see how long it's been since about here. May, June, July. Yeah, almost 3 months. Right. It's 2 months and 3 weeks. So for those 3 months and 3 weeks, we have been bullish. So now look at this daily and tell me where we can be bearish on this, right? Because if you're trying to sell, what are you trying to do? Anybody?
Even try to take out lows.
What lows?
Exact. Like, well, I guess that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
messed up on because I didn't have
You're lagging, bro. Can you say that again? Can you say that
so
again?
I
Can you say that again?
shouldn't have been looking
You're still
for
lagging. You're
sales.
lagging, bro. Like you sound like you're talking in slow mo, bro. Try again.
All right, is it going
Yeah,
smoothly now?
it's good now.
Huh?
Yeah, it's good now.
Oh, okay. So you were asking like what lows, and I guess that's why I messed up on because I was trying to sell, but I didn't have a target in mind, so
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have been selling.
And what are you deriving your bias from?
It was from the H2 and 3 breakup structure. Like it broke a lower high. I mean a higher low.
Mm-hmm.
So my bias switched.
And why are you so focused on smaller time frames?
I don't know. That's where I messed up.
Mm-hmm. So also too, look at this right here. This was Monday's closure. So does that look like a bearish or bullish closure to you? To you?
Well, that's an indecision. So
Exactly, and that's showing an unwillingness to go lower, which is why we got the reaction to the upside, right? And not to mention, the daily is still bullish, right? So now, honestly, I won't be bearish on this at all until we break this low, because that is now a solidified low, aka a continuation. Right, so the tricky part here was pretty much just understanding that there was a BOS here and that the daily has been bullish for the past 2.5 months. So I was, like I said, I was wanting to sell it if we would have had a reaction from the 50% here. But as you can see, looking at structure, right, let me pull up the line chart for that. Right, hold on, that is, there we go. So this is an impulse down. So now the only way to go into bearish structure is if we could pull back into this and then break out a low, and then now you're fully in bearish structure. But what happened? What happened here?
we had a reaction and went back to the upside.
Well, we're looking at structure here, right? So we came back, we pulled back, left equal highs. So now this pullback that supported the bias now had a target.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, bro, just look at the daily. Honestly, bro, just look at the daily. And then derive from there. Do I look at it? No, I look daily, weekly, monthly, 3-month, bro. But I mean, I've been trading the same pairs all year, so I don't really have to look at the 3-month every single day. You know, I know where this is gonna go, right? And from all the webinars before, like, we've been bullish on this, like I said, forever. Where are my candles there? Like, this is only the beginning, man. Like, honestly, this is only the beginning. Right? The fact that we can come back all the way up here to even tap here, that's crazy. That's a year-wide bias. And I'm pretty sure Sunil told me that that the ECB increased their interest rates or something like that. ECB, European Central Bank. But I don't really care about that stuff. All I know is that this is bullish. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Let's see. No, bro. Watch the material, but I'm telling you, like, trust me. Like, I literally just said, trust me. Your first 4 weeks, study and watch material. Trust me. Like, literally trust me. If you missed that EU trade from the low, from the PO you went over, is taking continuation still valid? Yes, because the structure. Because of the structure and because of the daily closure. Okay, any day now. Can you fucking load? Right, this is the reason why. Right, I knew that this wasn't gonna go lower into this time, into this right here. Right, I'm pretty sure. Did we talk about that like last week or 2 weeks ago? I'm pretty sure we talked about that, or I talked about it on the Discord. Right, so so because we had the BOS here, right, and we left these equal highs, which is on the 15-minute, I believe. maybe, yeah, equal highs, and that we didn't come back into that H4 50%, right? We did break structure. So now this pullback, and not to mention, you guys know that I'm always trading at these specific hours for the reason that we usually see the best trades around here. Because look, 1, 2, right? All we really need is one good trade a week, and this already gave 2. Right here with the intraday bias of taking this high out, where this taking the intraday bias of taking this high. So because there was a structure point taken there, we now have a reason to believe that this is the range that we should be playing under. Right? We took that structure, so now this is the range that I'm playing under. And that's relative equilibrium. We are now in discount, taking it up. Does that make sense? That was a good question. But yeah, it's all structure. 100% structure. I am gonna make another video. I know you guys requested one on like in-depth structure. Yeah, I'll definitely go into that because I didn't really go into trends inside of trends, structure inside of structure. Like for example, right, this is one move, but there is this going on inside. I didn't cover that. My bad, guys. I'll take care of it in that video. I just
Okay,
need to.
so
Mm-hmm.
Fredo,
Mm-hmm.
hello.
Yes.
All right. Can
Holy
I
shit, you're loud. Hold on.
antidote
Uh-huh.
something?
Mm-hmm.
That's inefficiency fill.
Mm-hmm. Continuation, yes.
All right, cool. All right, cool. All right.
So the only issue with that, bro, is with me. The only issue with that is that this is a probably like an M5 M10 continuation, right? Which is like right around. Where was it? I'm sorry. Was it here?
Um, I'll yeah, right there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right up right.
So you're looking at. So you're looking at potentially here, right? So even if you get your setup here, right? I don't like taking just continuations like this. It's good for you to learn those continuations. I personally don't like to because hold on, let me see. There, right? Because with with these 5 minute plays, you should be expecting 5 minute targets, right? So even if your stop is here, right, your target, you should at least take a partial or take profit at the previous high, because that is the basis of your trade. Because you're taking this based off of the narrative that this happened here. You don't have an impulse, and you're not coming back into either equilibrium or discount, right? Equilibrium, and taking it, wanting to take out a previous high, which if you would have kept holding, this would have came back right back, as you can see here, right? So when you're taking these M5 continuations, you want to have those M5 targets, which is here, because if you keep holding, then there's a chance it'll just come back to you, because on H1, right, you're actually in this range. You're actually inside the premium. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does.
So I don't want to take those M5 continuations unless you're wanting to take like a quick scalp, quick intraday trade. Um, because as you can see, my biases are derived from H1, H4 daily, right? You're taking a setup based off of M5, which is why I say that if you're taking an M5 setup, you should have an M5 target. Does that make sense?
Yeah, bro, makes sense. Makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
So that's not. I'm not like getting on you. I'm just like advising you. Like that's what I would do.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really taking it. I just wanted to really know, to sharpen my eyes when
Mm-hmm.
I look at certain stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
If you're
I
trying to
wasn't
sharpen your
really
eyes, bro.
basing it on the overall. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't really basing it on the overall play or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to sharpen my eyes
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, to just look at the finer details
Mm-hmm.
before I really start, like, putting a lot of time into trading.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not trading at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's
Uh,
fine. Um, you should honestly, bro. You should start with higher time frames. Look for higher time frame plays because look, even off this H1, this is basic. Like if you, this is literally a beginner, a beginner play here, right? You can easily put your stop here.
right.
There is a BOS here. You can easily TP1. Oh fuck. TP1 is at that previous high there. Oh, not. I'm sorry. This previous high. So 2 to 1,
Right.
and then your next target would be up there, right? So that's how you can start practicing, because you want to understand, how you want to understand the whole style from a higher time frame perspective first, and then you want to refine it so that then that becomes this, you know.
Right. Right.
So focus on the higher time frames first.
I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it.
But yeah, other than that, I think we're good. It's 10 p.m. I need to go to bed, or else I'm not gonna get any sleep tonight. All right, so I'm gonna upload it, and I'm gonna tell Sergio to tell me if I need to update it or not, or I mean, if I need to put the volume up or not. So